You know those people who you see who just seem to be a little bit more calm and grounded, who are able to take things in stride and maybe even seem a little more happy in general? Well, what is their secret? What do they know? And how can you learn what they know so that you can start feeling just more calm and grounded and maybe even a little happier in general? Today, I'm going to talk about 5 things that they are doing, that they are intentionally doing, that are really contributing to their overall sense of calm, groundedness, peace, satisfaction, joy, happiness, whatever you want to call it, in life. If you're new here, great to have you. My name is Kristina, and I'm a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and an online course creator. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I work to help men and women get through the crap that is holding them back so they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And today, we're not going to necessarily be talking about getting through the crap. We're going to be talking about preventing the crap and preventing that crap that comes into a lot of our lives by learning how to have healthy boundaries. Because people who tend to be more calm and grounded, who are able to take things in stride, also tend to have really healthy boundaries. And there's this psychological construct, there's this thing that's been researched in psychology as one of the key determining factors for an individual's overall happiness and well-being. And one of the most key things that a person can have that will contribute significantly and have one of the biggest contributors to their happiness is something called self-determination. And what that means is this sense and this belief and this perception that our lives and our choices are up to us, that we are determining our own lives and what we allow into it and what we keep out of it. So just in general, to become more happy and grounded, we have to be actively choosing what we're going to allow into our life and what we're going to not allow into our life. And that is essentially healthy boundaries. In doing this, you have to have healthy boundaries in order to be able to do this well. So let's get right into this. Let's talk about 5 things that people who have healthy boundaries, what they are doing so that you can start doing this stuff too. And no matter which one connects with you, when you hear one that connects with you, I want you to write in the comment section below, this connected, I need this, I'm going to start doing this, I am committed to making this change now so that I can start feeling more calm and grounded, less overwhelmed, and just generally happier in life. Leave that in the comment section below and let me know. So the first one is, people who have healthy boundaries connect with themselves. They pay attention to what's going on. They are always kind of monitoring what's happening inside of them in different situations, and they're determining what's okay with them and what's not okay with them. Because a lot of us are just sort of like hustling through life and going from one thing to the next. We're not paying attention to ourselves. We're not connecting to ourselves. And by the time we realize that our boundaries have been crossed, that we are way overwhelmed, we are way past the boundary, and we are just like, that line is a dot. We are so far past it. But people who have healthy boundaries are checking in with themselves. They know the signs when things are getting to be too much, when something doesn't feel right, when things are kind of like starting to butt up against those boundaries. They know before it's too late. And oftentimes our body will tell us, we'll have some kind of physical reaction when something isn't okay with us. For different people, it looks like different things, and maybe you know already, so leave it in the comment section below. How do you know? Do you get kind of this like tight feeling in your chest, or this kind of flipping feeling in your stomach, or this like tingling sensation in your armpits when you're put in a difficult position and it doesn't feel right? How does it show up for you? Where do you feel it in your body first? The next one is, they know that there are always consequences. So people pleasers, if I have any people pleasers here right now. Yes, people pleasing and being there for everyone and putting everybody else first all the time and trying to make everybody else happy is a wonderful and lovely and beautiful thing, but it has its consequences and it's not always healthy. It might be lovely to always put everybody else first, but it's not always healthy. And it oftentimes has significant consequences if we're not paying attention to our own needs. And it's not saying that like, well, I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to make it all about me, but that's not typically the problem. Typically the problem is that we forget to make it about ourselves sometimes. So no, it's not all about me, but it's also not never about me, because you know and I know that there are consequences when we never make it about ourselves, when we never take care of ourselves. The next one is they don't wait for other people to set their boundaries for them. If you've ever been in a situation where you're like, I can't believe that person asked me to do that. I'm so overwhelmed already. I'm so stressed out already. How could they? That's so inconsiderate. That's so rude. That's so just like insensitive. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe they think it's perfectly okay to ask you because they might think that you're okay with it because maybe you've done stuff like that in the past and you've been okay with it in the past, or at least you've said that you were okay with it in the past. So they're asking, and they have every right to ask, and you have every right to say no, because it's not other people's job to set your boundaries for you. And other people are allowed to ask, and you are allowed to say no. So people who have healthy boundaries don't wait for other people to set their boundaries for them. And they also don't get upset when other people are trying to cross their boundaries. They don't get mad. They just set a boundary. They just say, no, that doesn't work for me. I can't do that. Unfortunately, that's not okay, or whatever it is. They don't get mad when other people ask things of them because they know that they're allowed to say no. The next one, and this is a big one, one that I used to struggle with for sure, is they don't let themselves be controlled by guilt. And this is a big one because it can come from our own guilt inside, or it can come from guilt, being guilted by other people, that they don't let themselves feel guilty internally about what they're not doing and feeling like, oh, I'm not doing enough and I'm not being enough and I'm not accomplishing enough. I'm not putting myself out there enough. They don't feel guilty. They don't shame themselves. They don't tell themselves that they're bad, horrible, awful people if they're not taking on the world every single day. And they also don't let themselves be controlled by guilt from other people. They don't let themselves be manipulated. They know that sometimes it's hard to say no, and sometimes they're going to feel guilty for saying no, especially if it's something, a request from someone that they care about, but they know where their limits are again, and they know that this time they do have to say no, or there's going to be consequences. So they know that they might feel the guilt, but they're not going to be controlled by that guilt. So many of us, we hate so much feeling guilty that we end up trading in guilt for resentment. So to avoid feeling guilty, we say yes to doing something because we don't want to say no and feel like a bad person, but then we end up feeling really resentful towards that person for guilting us into doing something. But again, back to the other one there, it's not other people's job to set our boundaries for us. They can ask and we can say no. And so trading in guilt for resentment, neither one is good for a relationship. But the guilt is actually, it's better for us to feel a little bit of guilt and work through it and not feel bitterness and resentment towards other people, because bitterness and resentment will eat us up. Guilt will feel uncomfortable for a little while, but we just need to learn how to move through that guilt. Which brings us conveniently to the next one, that people with healthy boundaries allow themselves to take distance from toxic relationships in their life. Meaning that if they have someone in their life who is only happy with them, or maybe even will only like or love them when they do what that person wants, that's like saying this person will only love them for their yes. And in healthy relationships, people respect no. People, they might not always love it. It might not always be the most convenient or the best for them, but they will respect it and they will understand it. And they don't let themselves be manipulated or criticized or bulldozed or run over or made to feel like a crappy person for ever having any boundaries. Have you ever struggled with any of these? If you have, confession time, right in the comment section below. Yup, I've been there, but I now see what I need to do to turn this around. Let me know which one connected with you. I also have a free download, 25 ways to say no, that can really help you kind of get on your way to starting to have a bit healthier boundaries. It's a really good one. Make sure you grab that. I'll put it in the description below. Also, come and join my Facebook group, goodformegroup.com, full of supportive, kind, compassionate, and fun men and women. Like the video, share it out, subscribe to the channel, and let's stay connected. Until next time, take good care.